Today I'm scrapping with a kit by a new designer, Studio Live. And for this one, I went ahead and you'll notice in my top photo, the hill looks a little over the top. Because it's the rainbow and I wanted the rainbow to stand out from the clouds, I did oversaturate that particular one. The bottom photo, I left it the regular colors so you can see that the rainbow's not quite as bright on that one. I do love the fun and fancy word art. It's got a very carefree feeling to it. And then there's some adorable enamel pins in this kit. And this rainbow was actually what I decided to build pretty much this whole page around, because I just adored that enamel rainbow. There's some fun sparkly pictures. And one of the tricks that I use is if I'm looking for, sometimes I just want a shape, and I don't necessarily want the element itself. Like I wanted a little bit of that sparkle here, but I wasn't into the shape of the moon to go with the rainbow. So I just went ahead and layered it underneath, and it gives that circular fun pattern to it with the sparkles, but it doesn't actually show the moon. If you didn't watch the video, you'd have no idea that was a moon. I love the whimsy on these leaves. They almost have a heart appearance, which just made me happy because I love it when I can see rainbows and when I can capture them on film. And I went ahead and I kind of mimicked those two pieces, one on each side, just to give it some consistency to the framing with the two photos. Here's another spot where I went ahead and after adding in the little paper flowers, I did add another piece of the sparkly. This one's a planet, but I just wanted the edges of it to show forth because again, I didn't really want the planet itself, but I wanted those textures and I wanted that little bit of sparkle to match those moon shapes that I had created down farther. And then once I was playing with this, there are so many really pretty papers in this kit, but I couldn't decide which one looked great with my photos. So I played around a little bit with the papers before deciding that I kind of just liked the white background with that black strip that really made the rainbow pop and gave a little bit of contrast to having the page just be a little too light. I wanted to bring a little bit more black in, so I did try the journal card and see if just that touch of black behind it gave it the black I wanted. And then there was this really cute paper that I adored, so I thought I would try that with the rainbows on it. And after cutting and playing with it a little bit and trying to layer it in there, I realized it just really wasn't working, that white was just what I wanted with just that tiny strip of black to the side. So added a few more flowers. I really like how easy these flowers in this kit are to layer together. And for not being much of a flower person, I really did enjoy flowers on this layout. I think it just went with the rainbow and added those bits of color and kind of helped pull the colors in the rainbow out too. Added a few more fun little sparkly pieces because sparkles go with rainbows really well in my opinion. And then I wanted to add just a little bit of journaling. This page will actually be part of a lot more pages about this trip, this camping trip that we took. So this one didn't need a ton of journaling. I went ahead and I added the journaling in before I moved the scatter around, because I wanted to make sure I knew what I was trying to make clear to read. And for moving the scatter, I just did the simple trick of selecting it and then using Control and pulling it away to move it around. And then these cute little labels I thought added a good touch of color without overwhelming the page. So I played with that, added a little bit more color behind it, and then layered all these labels up together so that they were adding those little spots of color, but I liked how the white offset them so it didn't feel like too much color right there. And I liked the white background, but it was feeling a little plain still compared to the rest of the kit, so I decided I needed to find a way to jazz it up. Added a couple more scatters on the page. These ones are just little like paperish dots, and there was a couple that I moved over a little bit using that Control trick again. And then I added in some little bits of paint. And I struggled with the placement of those a little bit because I didn't want them to be too big and too take away from the photos, but I did want them to be there. And then I added a little bit more of those blues in with those other paints. And while I don't normally give paint a regular shadow, I really wanted those white stars to stick out from the back. So because of that, I gave it a shadow to give it a cutout paper type of effect, like you'd get from a silhouette or from something similar like that, with just a little white pop-up star. Then once I'd done that, I felt like the background, that white was nice, but it still was just, it needed something. So I took this really fun pattern and I just deleted the black part, layered it on the back, and I dropped the opacity way down. And by dropping the opacity and the fill down, I was able to give it that little something while still giving the appearance of a white background. And you can see the difference when I made it the regular color and dropped it back down. But I wanted it to stick out just a little bit. So what I did is I actually took a little bit of that pattern and I decided to layer it in the full colors in just a few spots. And I matched it up to the pattern so that it was right where it would be normally if that pattern was at full brightness instead of just that faint color to it. And then I, of course, moved those all to the very bottom so that they were sitting close to the bottom and didn't layer on top of anything else, because I wanted them to just stick out just a little bit, just really subtle color for that background. Added a few more pieces here and there, and that is my rainbow layout. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time I create.